Samsung's curved Galaxy S6 Edge might be one of the best handsets on the market, but it has a big challenge in the form of the 2600 mAh battery, which can't be removed. Samsung claimed that it'll be good for an entire day, but in my testing, I found it actually needs charging during the day. What's up guys, it's Nira for Android Authority, and in this video I'm bringing you my 5 tips to making the most of your Galaxy S6 Edge battery. Step 1 sounds really simple, but reducing the brightness of your Super AMOLED Quad HD display has a huge impact on the battery life. By reducing from full brightness to around 50% or less, I found that it can add actually a whole hour onto your screen on time. I personally keep my handset on auto brightness with the slider set to around 50% or less, and this means I'm often able to get 4 to 6 hours screen on time from a full charge. It's not perfect, but at 50% auto brightness, I found the screen is actually bright enough for most scenarios. From brightness to one of Samsung's own features, the Smart Network Switch. TouchWiz adds the ability to automatically switch between wireless and mobile networks, but while this can be useful, it definitely drains the battery. Turning this off is as simple as going into Wi-Fi networks and deselecting the box at the top. And by switching this off, you'll find it can add around 15 to 20% to your battery life. In the context of hours, this works out to between an hour and an hour and a half extra battery life, which can be the difference between your handset dying on the way home from work and actually lasting until you can get to a charger at home. From Smart Network Switch to the biggest drain of battery on just about any smartphone. This is a big deal for me, and this tip actually applies to all smartphones, not just the Galaxy S6 Edge. Location is traditionally a big drain of battery, but with the Galaxy S6 Edge, it can actually be a massive problem. If you're someone who relies on location-based widgets and apps, you'll often find that Google Play Services is listed as one of the biggest drains of your battery. The other thing about location is Google's own method of periodically scanning for Wi-Fi networks, even when you switch Wi-Fi off. When you first attempt to use a Google service, it actually prompts you to allow it to constantly scan for your location, and that includes using Wi-Fi when it's switched off, but this can cause massive battery drain. I personally don't allow Google to do this, as I prefer the battery savings that disabling the feature offers. If you're on the fence about this, head over to the location menu, which can be accessed by pressing and holding the location button, and then change the locating method to GPS only. Using GPS only will prevent your phone from scanning for your location using mobile and Wi-Fi networks, and should help your battery massively. From location to another Google service, and Google Sync. By default, Google syncs all of its various services every time you add a Google account, and this can be completely unnecessary. I mean, if you only use Google, you certainly don't need to sync your Play Movies, app data, newsstand and more. Head over to your accounts menu and select your Google account. Then look through each of the services and tap to disable any that you don't use. Now, if you're like me and you use them all, but you have multiple Google accounts installed, make sure you disable them on all but the main account you use for each service. So I use the same Google account for all my services, and as such, on all the others, I've disabled Play Movies, Newsstand, Google Play Books, just to prevent it from syncing in the background. From Google Sync to bloatware. And the Galaxy S6 Edge is unlike past Samsung devices, as the company's pretty much kept the bloatware to a minimum. Not only have they reduced bloatware, they've also added the option to disable most preloaded applications. And disabling some of these apps can prevent them from running in the background. Now I personally don't use OneDrive, S-Health or S-Voice, so I disable these, and especially in the case of S-Voice, it improved battery life. It wasn't by much, but it was enough to be noticeable. So there you have it, 5 simple tips to making the most of your Galaxy S6 Edge battery. Apart from the Smart Network Switch, they pretty much apply to any Android smartphone. Having come from a Note 4, it's certainly been an interesting challenge to make it last a full day. But sadly, most days, I find myself reaching for the fast charger after around 12 to 14 hours. For me personally, the trade-off between battery life and features is totally worth it, especially when you consider that quick charging means you can add 50% to the battery with just 30 minutes of charging. What do you think? Do you have any tips that you think I've missed out? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.